Hi YouTube, it's Mike from Kane Autograph. Welcome back to the channel. If you're into through the mail autographs, collecting cards, you're in the right place. Today we got a fun mail day, a mix of quick returns, some longer waits, and one player that answered a question. As always, everything you see here was sent through the mail. This next one has to be one of my favorite returns ever, and the cards are great, but it's a story that came with the cards. So we got Dan Briggs. He made his major league debut with the Angels 9/10/75. In addition to the Angels, he played for the Indians, the Padres, the Expos, and the Cubs. I asked Dan to share a memory. This is what he sent. One game, one moment. Last game of the 1978 season. Yankees versus Cleveland. Yankees have come from 14 games behind Boston to tie for the division. A Yankee win, and they're the division champs. A loss, it forces a one-game winner-take-all playoff game the next day in Boston. 50,000 rabid Yankee fans in Yankee Stadium. I'm playing right field. I make a diving catch off a Munson bloop down the right field line with the bases loaded to end the first inning threat. We go on to get the next win. The next day, Bucky Dent hits that famous three-run home run. Just think about that, baseball fans. If Dan doesn't make that catch, we never get Bucky frickin' Dent. Such a great story. Thanks for sharing that, Dan. Next up, Skip Lockwood, 2-2 in 18 days. He was a major league pitcher for 12 seasons, played for a lot of teams: the Seattle Pilots, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Angels, the Mets, the Red Sox. One of the coolest things about Skip is he's actually the last original Seattle Pilot to still be with the franchise after they moved to Milwaukee. That alone makes him stand out as a piece of baseball history. This next return is from Sonny Siebert, 2-2 in 18 days. He was a 12-year major league pitcher from 1964 to 1975, finished with a career average of 140 versus 114 and an ERA of 3.21. He threw a no-hitter for the Cleveland Indians against the Washington Senators, and he was a legitimate two-sport athlete at the University of Missouri. This next return is from Nate Odoms, a former NFL cornerback who played 8 seasons in the league. 2-2 in 18 days. Second round draft pick by the Bills in 1987. Went on to become one of the top defensive backs in the early 1990s. Key part of those Bills teams that made it to 4 straight Super Bowls, and he was a 2-time Pro Bowler. Up next, we got a nice baseball return. This one's from Dave Oliver, 2-2 in 18 days. He was a former Major League infielder and longtime coach. Third round pick of the Cleveland Indians, made his Major League debut in 1977. After playing, Dave spent decades in the game as a minor league manager, major league coach with the Rangers, Red Sox, and he's still involved as a scout with the Kansas City Royals. The 79 card is off to Tim Norrid, and the 78 card is off to Garth. Hopefully they come back signed. This one is from Mike Wallace, a left-handed pitcher who played in the majors from 1973 to 1977. He appeared in 117 big league games and finished with a strong 11-3 record, bouncing around with quite a few teams during that stretch. Short major league career, but he's a guy who stayed around the game for decades. Solid TTM return. That 74 rookie pitchers card is going to be sent out to Dick Blaney, and we'll see if that comes back signed. All right, next up we got a really solid catcher return. This is from Barry Foote, former major league catcher who played for the Expos, Phillies, Cubs, and Yankees. He was a top prospect taking third overall in the 1970 draft by Montreal, and this is a tough expectation, but he was called the next Johnny Bench. With the Expos in 1974, he had a strong season, 11 homers, 60 RBIs, and he made the Topps All-Star rookie team. He was so highly regarded that Gary Carter was moved to the outfield for a time. Injury slowed things down for him, but he later became a starting catcher for the Cubs. He hit a career high 16 home runs in 1979 and even drove in 8 runs in a single game. Next up, Bert Rombridge, 3-3 in 18 days, and he was a former major league pitcher who played from 1979 to 1986 with the Astros, White Sox, and Expos. He came up with Houston, had an excellent rookie season going 3-0 with a 1.69 ERA. Finished his major league with a really cool stat. He had a perfect 1,000 field percentage as a pitcher, handling every chance without an error. Next up is Gary Anderson, kind of an interesting football name that doesn't get talked about a lot. He made his biggest impact in the USFL with the Tampa Bay Bandits, where he was a true workhorse, rushing for over 1,200 yards in 1985. When he jumped to the NFL with the San Diego Chargers, he became one of the league's best receiving backs, catching 80 passes in 1986, earning a Pro Bowl, and even ripped off a 98 kickoff return for a touchdown. After stops with the Buccaneers, Lions, and a late comeback in the CFL, he wrapped up a career that spanned three different leagues, which is pretty cool. Next up, Ivan DeJesus. And Ivan played 15 seasons in the major leagues, suited up for a long list of teams, known for being involved in that trade that brought Ryan Sandberg to the Cubs. Up next is Steve Grogan, one of the toughest, most underrated quarterbacks of his era. He spent 16 seasons with the New England Patriots, which almost never happened during the early 70s and 80s. He was a true dual threat before it was fashionable, running for a quarterback record of 12 rushing touchdowns in 1976, and that mark stood for 35 years. He led the league in multiple times in quarterback rushing yards and helped the Patriots set an NFL season rushing record in 1978. He had his best passing year in 1979, leading the league with 28 touchdown passes. Next up, Pete Richard, a really underrated left-handed pitcher with a fascinating career. Two-time All-Star with the Washington Senators, where he won 15 games in 1965. He later reinvented himself as a dominant relief pitcher with the Baltimore Orioles. He was part of that Orioles team that went to three straight World Series, winning it all in 1970, where he picked up a save in Game 1. Up next, one of one in 56 days from Larry Colton. Colton reached the major leagues as a left-handed pitcher with the Philadelphia Phillies in 1968. His big league career was cut short after shoulder separation, ending thing after just one appearance. What makes Colton interesting is what came after baseball. He became a highly respected writer and educator, publishing works in places like Sports Illustrated, Esquire, the New York Times, and he wrote several books that were acclaimed. His writing often blends sports, history, and social content, making him a rare crossover between a professional athlete and a literary voice. And speaking of literary voices, Bob Costas, 101 in 21 days. And a lot of people have talked to me about this one. They're frustrated. They're not getting returns back. This is one of those cases I took a chance and I think I just got lucky. He's one of the most recognized voices in sports history, and what really sets him apart is his ability to tell stories. Next up, Terry Harmon, solid utility infielder for the Phillies in that 70s era. Spent 10 seasons with the Philadelphia Phillies playing second base and shortstop. Part of that team that won back to back National League East titles in 76 and 77. After baseball, he took a different path, moving into sports television and cable broadcasting. Up next is Seth Manes, an interesting pitcher from the modern Cardinals era. He was known for elite control, coming up through the Cardinal system and barely walking anybody in the minors. At one point, issuing just 10 walks in nearly 170 innings. Unfortunately, elbow issues cut his career short. Up next, Mike the Hitman Easler, underrated hitter from the late 70s, early 80s. He played 11 seasons, mostly with the Pirates, where he's part of that 1979 Series championship team. He was known as a pure left-handed hitter, someone who could spray the ball all over the field and come through in big moments. On that rookie outfielder's card, Keith Smith is the next guy I'm going to get that sent off to, and hopefully we get that back with some ink on it. This was a long wait for 319 days from Terry Steinbach. This is one of the cards I sent out during the Twins team challenge that I was playing in. He spent most of his time with the Oakland A's, three-time All-Star, and he was part of that championship team with the Oakland A's. Another set of cards that was sent out during that team challenge comes back after 339 days. Gary Wayne, 3 of 3. He pitched for the Twins in 1976 and 1977. He was one of those guys who would just come in out of the bullpen and try to keep the game close. All right, that's going to wrap up this week's returns. As always, a big thank you to the players who still take the time to sign for us collectors. I know I never take it for granted. This is why I love TTM. It's not just the autographs, the stories, the weights, and those cool returns that just make it so much fun. Let me know in the comments which returns today was your favorite. I always enjoy seeing what stands out to you. If you enjoy through the mail autographs, collecting stories, make sure you're subscribed. More mail days and TTM content coming soon. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate all of you.